Thumpers, welcome back to another trailer reaction from Hyper RPG. We are doing a trailer reaction for KRYPTON. Mildly controversial
the show that we were bad-mouthing for a while when we first heard of it.
This was so this show has been talked about in development, it's been in the production process for I don't know how long. There was a trailer that came out like 4 to 6 months ago that I remember like was leaked and then they pulled it. We never did a trailer reaction for it because people who were their videos were getting pulled off of YouTube. Yeah. I never actually got a chance to watch that.
I didn't watch it either.
I watched it. Yeah. I saw that one because it came out real quick, like you said, it leaked, and I was like, this doesn't do what it needs to do. And also, they say they had to recast or do some reshoot or reshoots or whatnot.
Maybe if it was for a pilot, that's like,
there was a lot of things.
Common.
It was a lot of reshoots and shuffling around certain things for the pilot. So yeah, this is why we're getting a new one.
Yeah, if you don't know the premise of this show, this takes place during the era of Superman's grandfather. This is not about Jor-El.
On the planet Krypton.
On the planet Krypton. This is about his grandfather. Now, when I first heard about that this show was being made, I thought, why are we making a show about Superman's granddaddy?
I think that was the consensus we all had when we talked about
it. To me,
I
love Superman the Animated Series, and I thought what they did with Jor-El and his storyline in that show was so damn good.
The
first 3 episodes, and I thought, why aren't we taking that and maybe making him a little bit younger and then building off of something like that and then transitioning into the story of how Krypton explodes.
And there's lots of questions with like, is this connected to Man of Steel? Is this connected to the Arrowverse? Like the Supergirl
it's on Sci-Fi, so it's like probably not. It's probably its own thing.
Also, ladies and gentlemen, if you weren't aware, Mr. Jay Washington is joining us.
Oh yeah, welcome back, Jay. Welcome back.
Thank you.
But yeah, so I haven't seen this trailer yet. I think we should watch it because
then we can discuss how we
I've heard certain things and I'm like, oh, I don't know if that stuff's in the trailer. But then I saw some sort of leaked photos and there's one particular element in the photos. I was like, cool. This looks promising, but
let's watch this before we speculate wildly.
All right, here we go.
That's the S logo.
Thank you.
The story of my family is one of triumph and sacrifice. How we led a revolution against tyranny. And now it falls on my shoulders to save my world.
Someone from the future is coming to destroy Krypton. Because where I'm from, your grandson becomes the greatest hero of the universe.
The story of my family isn't about how we died. It's about how we lived.
All right, interesting.
Okay, so now I want
the guy who's the future time traveler. Who hands the Superman cape to Jor-El's
Ron Howard.
Yeah.
Who?
It looks like Ron Howard.
Looks like Ron Howard.
I thought it was Ron Howard.
Before the stress of the solo movie.
The young Ron Howard looking guy with the Detroit Tigers hat or whatever baseball cap he had. That's Adam Strange, the DC Comics character who normally has a red and white suit, a helmet, and a jetpack, and it's very 1950s. And he has his little ray gun, and he can travel back and forth between his planet and I think it's the planet Ran. I think, and because Ran and Thanagar will have like wars often, so he'll travel back and forth from the planet Ran to Earth through a zeta beam. I think is what it is.
The boom tubes and stuff where they make the boom tubes.
He's very much like John Carter of Mars, except he can come back to Earth and vice, and back and forth. So he's what I've heard is the premise is that somehow, some way, the destruction of Krypton is prevented by a villain of Superman. An enemy of Superman figures out a way to go back in time and prevent Krypton from exploding. Ergo, no Superman.
No Superman.
So Adam Strange has to go back in time and ensure that Krypton will indeed explode. And he has to tell Superman's grandfather, this young hunky guy, right? This Ron Howard guy gives him the thing. So I love that premise, and I think that's very interesting.
Okay.
This trailer is still kind of giving me sort of like kind of generic sci-fi show vibes, kind of generic, good-looking young people.
Yeah,
it's a TV show.
It's a TV show.
It did help him saying that somebody
It
from
does
my
look a lot like Ron Howard.
He does look a whole lot like Ron Howard.
When I first saw him,
Jesus.
I was
I'm like,
what's Ron
oh,
Howard
no.
doing in this? But it
Jesus.
looks like
Wow.
But he does say somebody from my time comes back and is stopping your grandson, who becomes the greatest hero we've ever seen.
The greatest hero in the universe.
In the universe.
Yeah.
So that premise is cool, but the question becomes, can you stretch that premise out
for a season
for
or
a
two,
season or two or more?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the problem because there's a definite end. The
There's a
destruction of
definite end.
Krypton.
Right.
Well,
Not
there
even just
is-
that, or more so that, and then it's like, don't you
Yeah.
find out who it is soon?
The thing I kind of get from it is that there is a definite end because it's either going to be one way or the other. They're either going to save, they're either going to save Krypton and doom the universe, or Adam Strange and whoever else and the grandfather will ensure that Krypton will explode some point, and then that will be like the series finale is that Krypton explodes.
Right.
But like with how young this guy is, this isn't like an old man.
Right.
This
Right.
isn't
Where
Jor-
Jor-El already exists.
Where Jor-El is the age like that Russell Crowe was when Krypton exploded. Like it's nowhere near close to that. So it's like
There's a lot of time.
you could do a season of this, and if they get canceled, if they have enough, like if they know that the show's ending, they could go, okay, let's wrap this up, and Krypton is
And
destroyed,
Krypton's
and they
done.
did it.
Yeah.
So because of just the youth of that main character, I feel like they could stretch this out to however long they wanted.
Yeah.
If this thing was very well done and a hit, they could do this for 7 seasons.
Yeah.
Can we talk about that cape?
Yeah.
Mhm.
That old school cape.
That old school
Christopher
cape.
Reeve.
Yeah, that's Christopher Reeve type old school.
Absolutely. Just fabric.
It's just straight
It's
fabric.
not
like
one
felt.
of those hundreds of thousands of dollars with
Yeah.
like a
Yeah.
Henry Cavill suit, like
Yeah.
with all the detailing. It's like, here's a piece of cloth.
Yeah.
we
That's
just
like
we stitched this and just got done.
Construction felt on construction felt.
Our
and-
seamstress was tired, and we was
Yeah.
just like, we need a cape.
I think it's a really interesting concept. The fact that a character from our time has to go back to ensure that this planet explodes. But not only that, he has to ensure that Kal-El is born, that
Right.
Jor-El is born.
Right.
So there's it. I mean, it's in,
Yeah.
yeah. That's the thing that's
It's very Back to the Future. You could do a lot of
Sure.
stuff where if what's the main character's name? That's Jor-El's father. What's
Um,
Kal-El's grandfather's name?
not
Whatever.
Mon-El,
Come
not
on, Adam.
Mon-El.
It doesn't matter.
Come on,
It's not
Adam.
Mon-El.
Don't let me down, Adam.
Keep talking. I'll
Okay,
think.
whatever this guy's name is, like you could do a thing where like he meets the woman that will be his wife.
Yeah.
But then it's like, but he, it's like the enchantment of the sea dance. Like there has to be a song so that I
Okay.
can
Yeah.
kiss her, so that I
Yeah.
can. They could do like this guy showing up could basically be like the Marty McFly of the future that's trying to tell George McFly to go fuck. Like
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it just doesn't work out.
for real, that's what it
That could
was.
be a part of the
Go
show. That could be a part of the show.
It's like
So-
a reverse Terminator, basically.
yeah.
Also,
it's-
I have heard that Brainiac shows up in this.
That could be Brainiac that we see.
Well, Brainiac is going to be in Supergirl. Brainiac 5, I
Brainiac
think.
5.
Yeah.
That's true.
But I've heard Brainiac
I hope so.
will be in this.
Because that's one of my favorite elements of Superman the animated series is that they sort of retconned it and made it so that Brainiac the character was a part of the destruction of Krypton, was
Right.
a part of the artificial intelligence of the world, and knew that it was exploding and still bounced. So then later he had a history. That character had a history with Kal-El. I think it's brilliant. I would love to see that.
Sagel.
Say-El?
Sag.
Sag.
CYG.
Like Sega?
Sega.
Yeah, I guess.
Okay, Sagel.
L.
Sagel! Sagel! You remember how Sonic the Hedgehog used to start?
Yeah.
Yep.
Sagel!
But
Sagel
I mean,
has to go smash.
not only does this show have to ensure the birth of Jor-El, because I'm assuming that he's not married.
Yeah, 'cause
Jor-El
he
is
looks
not
like a
born
young
yet.
guy,
He looks
right.
really young. So we have to ensure the birth of Jor-El. General Zod has to at some point
Come along.
Yeah,
you heard rumors that Doomsday is going to be in this?
yeah. There was an interview
Jeff Johns
at the
that said it?
TCA somethings.
Now, not full on Doomsday the monster, but like Doomsday, the origin of Doomsday.
It's going to
is
play a
that-
role into
So
the
the
Yeah.
world
show.
killers will show up in a sense somehow. Because he's a world killer. Him, Rain, a couple others.
Yeah, well,
But I mean, this might even go back to the scientists who developed
The world
Doomsday.
killers.
yeah,
Okay.
because
Exactly.
they were saying that this show takes inspiration. I can't remember what the third one is, but one of them is Secret Origins, and the other one is Superman the Animated Series. And in that, Jor-El was responsible for the creation of Brainiac, and then uses Kal-El's ship to get himself to Earth. I think that's what happened in that show.
In Superman the animated series, no, I think he bounced out of there Brainiac some other way.
Oh, okay. I thought he implants himself into Kal-El's ship.
Or he could have just survived the explosion and
or whatever it was.
Whatever the case was. But yeah, he was there.
But Brainiac plays a part in it. And then like we've seen in various incarnation of comics that like Kryptonians created Doomsday.
Right.
So I think, and Jeff Johns said it's going to be a version that's closer to the comic book as opposed to what's been in the movie.
Doomsday character.
Okay.
Sure.
Yeah. So I think I'm really intrigued to see sort of what we get and how they incorporate all of that history. And because this actor is so young, how long can this go on?
Well,
how many things have to happen in order for this
questions
to
were being asked when Gotham was coming out.
Sure.
Oh, I still ask those questions about Gotham.
Yeah.
We don't talk about Gotham.
And that's the thing. I hope it doesn't go down that route, because essentially, to me, and I know there are people who love that show, but to me, it's a Batman show without Batman.
That's what it was supposed to be.
Yeah.
And to me,
that's what it was meant to be.
Why didn't you just make it Gotham Central? You know?
No, that's exactly the story of Gotham was initially supposed to be just Jim Gordon.
Yeah.
He was supposed to be the
now
focus.
you're turning into a Batman show without Batman, and I'm like,
The good thing
don't
about
do
this show is that they force themselves out of that. That can't happen
because it's Krypton.
Yeah, because he's not born yet.
Yeah, and they don't have those abilities on.
And also, they don't have abilities on Earth. I'm sorry to cut you off. They don't have.
Yeah.
There's no powers because their powers come from
the yellow sun.
The yellow sun.
Yeah.
There's no yellow sun, and there's no. Their gravity is strong, so they're just normal where they are. So it's like they can be shot and killed, as we see, as opposed to when Kal-El is on Earth, he can't be shot and killed.
So the question is, Jay, like, do you think audiences are going to buy into this? Because audiences have bought into Gotham.
Yeah.
It's on Fox. It has stellar ratings.
It's on like one on its fourth season.
People love the Batman show without Batman. And the thing about that show, I think, is that before it came out, it looked gorgeous. It still looks great.
It's very well shot.
But for me personally, it's a little tonally kind of all over the place. Krypton looks honestly like an Arrowverse show, and that's not necessarily a bad thing, but it looks like a show that has definitely a budget, and you can kind of see it somewhere. It looks way better than something like Inhumans. Don't get me started on that, but it's still like it still feels like it could be in the realm of Supergirl with like a budget like Supergirl, right? So it might not look as cinematic as Gotham, but those Arrowverse shows really have a good handle on the tone and kind of where they're going. So Jay, like, our audience is going to be into a Superman show without Superman without powers.
I think it's going to be a hard sell. The first episode has to grab everybody. The first episode, the pilot episode, there is no second episode with this. Because of the story you're doing, that very first episode has to make sure you're like, oh shit, I'm here for this. If that first episode isn't, don't see this lasting. I mean, and that's from those of us in the industry that talk about it and to the casual fans.
Well, look, remember years ago when there was a Birds of Prey show that lasted a season?
I used to watch it all the
which
time.
was a weird, it's also a Batman show, but about Batman and Catwoman's daughter. Like,
Yeah,
it was a
and
Batman show without
it's like-
Batman.
and it kind of like lingers in that movie territory where he like, it looks like Batman from the movies and Catwoman from the movies, but it's not. And you're like, where does
Harley
this kind of
Quinn was in it, and Oracle was in it, but it still wasn't like a full blown like DC Comics Gotham, show. I don't know. Adam, you're a big Smallville guy.
I love Smallville.
So what do you think? Do you think it?
I am. Here's the thing. I don't watch a lot of sci-fi shows, but from people that I know that watch sci-fi shows, they, especially Zach. I forget what the show that Zach has been watching.
Oh, I think The Expanse.
The Expanse. Yeah, that's the one he was really into.
Yeah, and he said it's a really, really good show. And I trust Zach's taste because he's pretty particular with what he watches. Yeah. And from what I keep hearing, Sci-Fi has been putting more money into their shows. And it kind of, you can kind of see it, you know, because of the fact that it takes place on an alien planet, you know, an alien world with all these other types of characters, and the technology is so advanced. You have to put a lot of money into this. Whereas with Arrow, Supergirl, Flash, you can kind of get away with it being a lower budget because it takes place in our world. So I'm actually pretty impressed with the visual quality of this show, and if it's on par with what I keep hearing about other sci-fi shows, then it may surprise us. I know a lot of people don't necessarily like David Goyer's writing. I thought him partnering up with the Nolans to do the Batman trilogy was great. I like a lot of the writing in Man of Steel. It's going to be interesting to see if I think he's probably going to be the guy who writes the pilot. And he's one of the developers and the creators of the show.
Sure.
I don't imagine him writing the entire season.
Yeah, no, I don't think so.
But I'm kind of on your side. I think the pilot really needs to nail it. It needs to hit it out of the park. It needs to really sell people. Why do I care about a Superman-centric show without Superman? The premise that they sell us on in here interests me a lot.
Right.
Because to think man, if they don't basically cause the destruction of this planet,
right,
Superman won't happen. And to me, that's kind of interesting.
that's
It's
a
like we
very-
have to sacrifice
That's
ourselves.
a very interesting dilemma. It's like I am willing to kill my kids because he's gonna have children. He's gonna have the father and the father of Superman.
Jor-El will grow to adult age,
right? And
have
I
a
will
baby
ensure
himself
his
barely,
death
and that's
so
it.
that my son Kal-El
and it's
can
like,
live.
Are these two characters going to go on a quest together where at the end of it they're actually the ones responsible for the destruction of Krypton?
Yeah.
Like, it's a really there's so many different routes you can go to. So I'm interested by the premise.
It's a very interesting dilemma to be in.
Yeah.
That's got to be a hell of a pitch from Adam Strange to be like, look, man, you have to blow up your planet.
Right.
Your grandson will live. Everybody, yourself,
your
and
race
your
is
children,
gonna die.
Everybody.
You got to convince him that the planet is going to blow up first of all, because I don't think he even knows anything that
possibly.
Because Jor-El does say we're the ones that cause the destruction. So Jor-El knows. There's no saying that his father knew. Krypton might have just been going through some things,
Right.
But not any
Tectonic shifts.
right?
Yeah.
But just not anything that was cataclysmic in the
Right.
world.
Can you imagine somebody showing up from the future and going, look, Earth is going to be exploded, but the one person, the one baby that lives will be the greatest hero of the universe and save countless billions more.
Right after he told him this, he was like, I gotta find myself a lady.
No, what would you do if somebody told you that? What would be your first reaction?
I would say,
I mean, get out of here.
my first reaction would be like, is there any way we can do both? Is there any way that you can...
you would buy into it 100%.
What would be your first reaction?
I'd be like, get the
fuck
out of here. Right.
Yeah,
Everybody's
what are
first
you
reaction
talking
is get the fuck out
My
of here.
second reaction would be like, are you serious?
when he
If this
insisted.
if this Adam Strange had some sort of proof or something other than just a blanket that he could have made, like I would be like, look, how about this? Can you come and kidnap this baby so that the rest of the planet and the people that live on it will be okay, and the baby will still be raised on Kansas or whatever this Kansas on your Earth you described, and he will be raised, and then when he's like 30, and then when he's like 35 and is already a good dude and is a hero, can come back and visit us.
And that's in the
cool.
comments, guaranteed right now. Kansas.
Kansas.
Being retyped right.
You make Kansas sound very exotic.
He'll be born in Smallville, Kansas.
It's just a hard. I mean, the pitch, the premise of this story. I have to be concerned with Superman's homeworld 2 generations before Superman exists.
You got to be invested, but still root for them to die.
If this story was about, if we had this exact same story and it was Jor-El,
I think everybody would be into
I'd be like, oh hell yeah. With the grandfather,
agree.
I'm a little like, the timeline to me is just weird.
Yes.
Yeah. But I don't know. Maybe they'll set it up in a way, and I'm like, oh, that makes sense.
And there has to be a reason to use besides just using his grandfather.
Right.
There has to be a legitimate reason to something that we don't see that will. Again, maybe we get a Thanagarian somewhere down the line.
Maybe, for Adam Strange, sure. Maybe them learning from Gotham and them not wanting to even succumb to any temptation of using any of the established characters. We're like, let's be one generation ahead of Jor-El, just so that we're not even focused on Jor-El, because he's already a character that carries a lot of weight.
But he is the one character in the Superman universe that I'm like, ooh, can we spend more time with Jor-El and Lara?
Sure.
Please?
Yeah. I agree with that. This show, it's still a hard sell for me because I don't watch that much TV to begin with. I'm barely caught up on the Runaways, which if you haven't watched Runaways, it's a great show.
Did you do the whole season?
Yeah.
I'm done with the whole season.
I think I'm like
Season
2
finale came out
episodes
tonight.
behind.
I watched it at midnight
I'm
last
3
night.
episodes behind.
Cool.
I watched the whole thing.
But if this show is as intriguing as that show or better, then I'll watch the whole thing. That'd be great.
I'm absolutely 100% going to watch it because it's Superman and Superman's my boy.
Of course.
There you go.
Of course.
I gave Gotham a shot and it wasn't for me.
Yo,
I
watched Powerless.
Yeah, you're gonna watch it. Okay, great. Every
That's all
episode of Powerless?
I watched 4 and then I gave up. I watched Powerless and I watched Inhumans. If I watched those 2 shows, you damn right
I watched the pilot of Powerless on the plane.
Yeah.
And it was so mad at just
Such a bummer.
such a bummer.
I'll throw this in there too. I
have
watched
not
all of
seen that
Iron
yet.
Fist.
Yeah,
I'll watch Krypton.
God.
I'll watch Krypton. And I know Adam didn't even think Iron Fist was that bad because it's not, but it's still pretty.
No,
still
it's
pretty
really bad. It's really
It's
bad.
not really bad. It just
No,
there's
it's-
too much
it's really
filler.
bad.
It does. If you took out a lot of the filler stuff,
It has
let's-
cool characters.
Guys, let's stop
No,
defending
guys,
Iron Fist.
It's
for a second.
really bad.
My point was,
It's
I'll be
really
watching
bad.
Krypton.
yeah.
I'll watch it again. I guess I'll agree. I'll watch it as well. It's just that I need to know in this pilot, and I'm going to go, with the open mind.
Totally.
Because I can't go like, oh, this is gonna be horrible. I'm gonna go like, yo, let me see this pilot. Let me just watch it and see if I just enjoy it.
Well, listen, Smallville had an amazing pilot. I still remember the pilot for that show.
Fuck, man.
Supergirl had a great pilot. The Flash had a pilot that I loved. So I believe that they got it. Otherwise, this show wouldn't have been greenlit.
Yeah.
If they didn't have a really strong pilot script to go off of. So I'm looking forward to it.
Also, the S symbol they're using. This is the Man of Steel S.
It's similar.
It's similar. It's in that.
It's got a lot of similarities.
Well, again, you got to go look how many generations.
Yeah.
You got to remember this is the early
it's got
generation.
a little bump on the bottom of the S. It doesn't have the full blend.
It hasn't the full
but
blend.
It still
has like
similar
shapes.
It has the influence of
totally.
it. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it could, because of course it is David Goyer writing in this.
Right.
So it could be because of that. That's why it has this influence.
That'd be crazy. That'd be crazy if they were to get this show lasted. I don't know. I'll give it 4 seasons. End of season 4. They got a Russell Crowe cameo to come back and be Jor-El.
Dang, son.
To be like,
Bro.
this is in Man of Steel. We've had a child, a boy child. They just show the beginning of Man of Steel. Like, they did it.
A boy child.
A boy child.
Yeah, I mean, the other thing about, like Smallville for me, to me, the first 4 seasons of that show are just like,
they're pretty good.
So good.
Still a lot of Monster
So
of the
good.
Week, but still pretty good.
Yes, but I think with the first 4 seasons, it's so well with the character.
Yeah.
Is he grew every season, he developed a new power, and it really justified why he existed. And it really taught you a lot of lessons that his parents taught him. By the time Jonathan Kent dies, I thought, okay.
Spoiler alert.
Sorry that I ruined 10 years of your Smallvilleism.
You mean to me his daddy died?
But I thought by that point, when that show does that, it should have ended.
I agree.
And then it stuck around for 5 more seasons, and I kind of lost interest in it a little bit.
It's okay, Adam.
So I hope that this show, what it does, it doesn't try to be like, well, let's just keep going and let's try to go to 10 seasons. Like,
it would be great if they came out and they're like, we have a plan for a 3-season show.
Yeah.
We know where
if
it ends.
we need to, we can end it
Okay, I
season
can
1.
live with
Like
that.
that
Yeah.
would be amazing.
Yeah.
If they're like, we have a plan for 3 seasons and then we're done. Then we're out. And I would respect the hell out
Totally.
of it.
Yeah,
That'd be great.
absolutely. Absolutely.
I'm intrigued. I'll definitely check it out and hoping for the best.
I'll give it a
because
shot.
I love
I'll give it a
Superman.
shot.
I'll give it a shot.
Yeah.
I'll give it a shot.
Let us know in the comments below what you thought about this first trailer for KRYPTON. Are you going to watch it? What are you hoping to see? And what characters would you like to see? Because I'm super intrigued by what characters they're going to potentially bring in because it is a generation before Jor-El.
I'm calling it right now. Somebody's going to say, Batman. I'm calling it right now.
Yeah.
Because he's always the answer
You
for every
ding
Let's see a
question
Green
ever.
Lantern in there somewhere.
Yeah.
Oh,
Shit,
snap.
that would actually be
The
rad.
lantern
Oh,
is
snap.
possible.
Hello.
The lanterns are.
Hello.
There it goes.
I just opened
There-
a whole new topic of
there is
conversation that we're not going to
possibility.
talk about.
Hello.
There is possibility for the lantern.
Little Ab and Sur action.
That would be
Ganthet.
dope.
Or whoever was before Abin Sur.
Ooh,
Yeah.
I like
Exactly.
it.
That's what
Because
I'm saying.
remember, we're
I
going
like it.
generations back.
Yeah.
God
I
damn
just blew
it.
your mind.
Damn it.
Let us know in the comments below if you'd like to see a Green
Sinestro
Lantern.
of Korugar.
And we'll be back, hopefully, to review the pilot. Augustine, where
Next
can everybody find you?
You can find me rolling away at @L_Santo Taco.
You can find me at Hector is Funny.
You can find me at Mr. J Washington, MRJAY Washington.
You can just find me at Adam Havoc, and we'll see you guys in the next reaction.